Hi everybody, I hope you're doing great. Today we are going to look at a very prominent aspect of English language, that is action verb. What is an action verb? Now I teach, you listen. Going, coming, walking, that is action. That is action verb, a word or a phrase that describes an action, condition, or experience. That is what actually we call verb. So it talks about an action. But in English, every action verb can be divided into 7 forms according to its time. It's not 3 forms or not 5 forms, 7 forms. Every action verb can be divided into 7 forms according to its time. When you look at action verb, there are regular verbs and irregular verbs. These regular verbs are called strong verbs in English. And these irregular verbs are called, regular verbs are called weak verbs in English. Why? For example, you take any verb, action verb, go, went, gone. Look at the form completely changed. But that's why these are called irregular verbs, at the same time, strong verbs in English. But other verbs, like for example, these are called regular verbs, and these are weak verbs. Cook, cooked, cooked. Simply you add ed to that. These are regular and irregular verbs in English. These are strong and weak verbs in English. So, a word or phrase that describes an action, condition, or experience, that is called a verb. Every action verb can be divided into 7 forms according to its time. Not 3, not 5, 7 forms in English. And look at that. This is what exactly. 7 forms. You take the verb go, goes, went, going, gone, to go, and go. The first 3 forms are independent forms. Then the next 4 forms are dependent forms. Independent forms and dependent forms. But look at that, you have a doubt here. The first form of the verb and the 7th form of the verb, they look same. But I'm going to explain what's the difference. Very simple, I gave you here. This form is independent form, this form is dependent form. What is dependent form? What is independent form? And you look at in blue. When you look at these forms, you have an action. That means these 3 forms have meaning. At the same time, these 3 forms have time. What do have time in English? Helping verbs have time. Auxiliary verbs show time. These are called auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. They show time. They tell you time. They have time. So these 3 forms never take any helping verb. Without depending on any helping verb, these 3 forms give absolute and complete meaning. For example, I go. I go. I can understand there is a meaning because go, action means meaning. I eat. I cook, action. That action has meaning. When it has meaning, that is an action verb. And also it has time. When you look at that, I go, you can understand that is a present form. The action is in present. Without depending on any helping verb, this form gives you complete and absolute meaning. We are going to look at, this is the structure. I'm explaining about the verb, action verb. There are different kinds of verbs. We are not looking at it now. We're going to look at each and every aspect. The next form with third person singular, we use it. He goes. He cooks. She works. Look at this. When you use this form, you can understand that form has meaning. At the same time, that form has time. And it doesn't depend on any helping verb which has time. Without depending on any helping verb, this form gives complete and absolute meaning. You can understand that is present and also it has meaning. And look at the next one. Went. I went. He went. When you look at the form, action completed. Something completed. And that means that form has meaning. At the same time, we come to understand that form has past time. He went. The action gets completed or got completed. We come to understand when you look at the verb in a sentence. So, go, goes, went. These three forms never take any helping verb. So, these are called independent forms in English. That's why we have to explain this. These three forms never take helping verb. That's why most of the times students say he doesn't goes. Because we don't explain. That is independent form. That doesn't take any helping verb. We should explain this. Then they never do that. And some students say sometimes, even we also do that. He didn't went. He didn't cooked. Because the cooked, the form, the third form of the verb, it never takes any helping verb. That should be explained in the classroom. If you explain that, they don't do that. Because go, goes, went. They never take any helping verb in sentences when you use it in speech. That should be explained. So, first three forms have time, at the same time meaning. So, without depending on any helping verb, these three forms give a complete and absolute meaning. That's why these forms are called independent forms in English. But look at the other forms, dependent forms. When you use these forms, going, gone, to go, and go, they have meaning. Action has meaning. But these four forms don't have time. To get time, these four forms depend on helping verbs. Helping verbs show time. Helping verbs have time. For example, you use is, am, are. I going, we never say. If you want to tell, is it present, or past, or future, you should use helping verbs of that time. Am, is, are, present. Was, were, past. Will be, shall be, can be, future. The modal verbs, I'm going to explain that one also later. So, you can't say, I gone. You have to take helping verbs. Helping verbs have time. Have, has, had. We use gone with have, has, had. And passive tense. We're going to look at that one also. And the to go. To go also depends on another verb. Another past verb. Another future verb. Another present verb. How? We're going to look at that. And you look at the last one, the first form of the verb and the seventh form of the verb, they look same. But the first form is independent form and the seventh form is dependent form. This form takes helping verb. Without taking helping verb, it doesn't give a complete sense, complete meaning, complete time. That's why this form, for example, I shall go. If you want to tell the future action, you have to use will or shall. That means that this form depends on helping verb. If you use I don't go, don't is helping verb of present. I didn't go is a helping verb of past. If you want to tell negativity, he doesn't go, present. So that means this form takes helping verb. This form depends on time. Which have time? Helping verbs, auxiliary verbs. So now we come to understand every action verb can be divided into 7 forms according to time. But not 3 forms, not 5 forms. 7 forms in English. This is the backbone of English. Look at this. It looks like a skeleton. Then you add many grammar aspects, adverb phrase, noun phrase, adjective phrase, predicate, and you make sentence, a big sentence or long sentence, and you construct that. But this is prominent structure for your language. So you should understand a verb. So we see in books, go, went, gone. Cook, cooked, cooked. No. Cook, cooks, cooked, cooking, cooked, to cook, and cook. 7 forms should be mastered. Only these 7 forms we have in English. We don't have any other verbs, verb forms. We have only 7 forms. Only these 7 we have to use in English. So now we understand every action verb can be divided into 7 forms according to time. Now look at this. This is strong verb. This is irregular verb. But now we look at another verb. Look at that. Take, takes, took, taking, taken, to take, and take. Same. This is also strong verb, irregular verb, because form completely changed. If it is a weak verb, it is a regular verb, we simply add ed to that. We look at that one also. Look at this. Cook, cooks, cooked, cooking, cooked, to cook, and cook. We are going to look at when and where, how we should use these forms. Those days gone. This is communicative English. The structure days gone. 1960s, 50s, 70s, those days gone. This is only communicative English. Simply you master, simply go and speak in society. Speak with someone directly. Now, look at the other one. Play, plays, played, playing, played, to play, and play. So you understand that. You divide, you take any verb, and you look at that and divide like this. Play, plays, played, playing, played, to play, and play. Go, goes, went, going, gone, to go, and go. Any verb. Teach, teaches, taught, teaching, taught. To teach and teach. Learn, learns, learnt, learning, learnt, to learn, learn. Like this. See, sees, saw, seeing, seen, to see and see. So every action verb can be divided into 7 forms according to time, not 3, not 5, 7. That's it. We are going to look at these in structures, in the communicative structures, how to use them in the next lesson. But this lesson is only for verb forms. Not 3, not 5, 7 verb forms. Now, before looking at communicative English, we have to look at other important aspects to construct sentence. Look at this. Pronoun. What is pronoun? Pronoun is used instead of a noun. My name is Ramachandra. I'm a he. So instead of calling Ramachandra, you use he. Because you know me, I know you, and someone knows me, so that becomes common. The proper noun will become a pronoun when we talk. He said like this, he says this. Okay, these are the pronouns in English. I, first person, singular. We, one or two, more than one. We, first person, plural. You, second person, singular. You, two or three or four, second person, plural. He, she, it, third person, singular. And they, one, two, three, four, more than one. Then you have to use they. So first person singular I, first person plural we, second person singular you, second person plural you again, and third person singular he, she, it, and third person plural is they. These are the pronouns. But English language, the structure is subject, verb, object. That is the structure. The later you add many aspects of grammar, but the structure is this one: subject, verb, and object. But look at the pronouns. I is the subject pronoun. Object pronoun is me. You, we, us, they, them, he, him, she, her, it. We need to understand to construct a sentence. Instead of I, you can use names, like a proper name. What is proper name? As I told you, Ramachandra, Raghava, Kuchi, Satya, Vicky, Rajeshwari, Nagalakshmi, Hiyan, V. Some names, proper name, man or woman, a girl or boy. We use these proper names. These are pronouns. What is common noun? Teacher, doctor. The teacher would be a man, a teacher would be a woman. So simply we say teacher, that's it. It's a common, because I know, you know about that person. She's a doctor, she's a teacher. That's a common noun. So like this, we need to understand when we construct a sentence. Now, we look at other important aspect to dive into communicative English, that is auxiliary verbs. As I told you before, auxiliary verbs have time. Auxiliary verb show time. It's a present time or past time or future time. So that's why action verb depends on helping verb. And also action verb doesn't depend on helping verb. The first three forms, next four forms. 7 forms in English. It's because first 3 forms are independent forms. Next 4 forms are dependent forms. They never take auxiliary verbs or helping verbs. Now look at this. B. We have am, is, are, was, were, being, been. Have, has, had, having. Do, does, did. These are helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. They have only time, but modal verbs are different. I'm going to explain that one also, because we're going to enter communicative English. These are modal verbs. Here you see that they have time factor, and feeling factor. What is feeling? What is feeling means it not only tells the time, but also it tells the intention and your ability, your permission, your possibility, your certainty, intention, suggestion, advice, request, obligation, hypothetical situation, necessity, logical conclusion, challenge, courage, and past habits. It's not only time, and also they have feeling factors. That's why these are called modal verbs in English. So the past tense and future tense. Can is, we can use it in present and we can use it in past. And the past form of can is could. So you look at this. Can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, must, ought to, need to, dare to, and used to. Used to we use for past habits of the people. So these are auxiliary verbs and modal verbs. That is the difference. Auxiliary verbs have only time. They don't have any feeling factor. But modal verbs, they have time factor, at the same time feeling factor. They explain, what do you think? What do you want to say? What is your intention? What is your ability? Permission, these aspects. That's why these are called modal verbs in English. Now, another important one, these are independent forms. I explained pronouns, right? When we use them, I go, we go, ye go, they go. With the first form, we use in present tense. And the next one, third person singular. He, she, it goes, he goes, she goes. And there is a meaning at the same time, present time. And the next one, went, I went, you went, we went, they went, it went, she went, he went. It has time, at the same time it has meaning. So these forms never depend on any helping verb or any auxiliary verbs because these three forms already have time. Without depending on any helping verb or auxiliary verb, these three forms give a complete and absolute meaning. That's why these three forms are called independent forms in English. But we look at one by one. Next four forms, dependent forms. Going. This is the fourth form of English. But this form has only meaning because action has meaning. Going, coming, walking, sleeping, that's an action. Action means there is a meaning. Eating. So, to tell the time, when are you eating? When were you eating? When will you be going? To tell the time, present, past, and future. So then this form depends on auxiliary verbs. Without depending on auxiliary verbs, it cannot make sense, complete sense. It doesn't give complete and absolute meaning to the sentence. So that's why this form is dependent form in English, because it has meaning but not time. For that, it depends on helping verbs. Helping verbs have time. This is of the same perfect form, gone. So if you want to tell present or past or future, this form again depends on these helping verbs to tell the time. I have gone. I had gone. I shall have gone, future. So to use that one, you have to use this form. But this form has only meaning but not time. For that, it depends on, again, these helping verbs. You pause and check. You come to understand. This is different. It's not regular. This is communicative English. It's not spoken English simply. I'll show you. I put there that one also. Now this one, to go. The to infinitive this is called. But this form depends on, again, helping verbs. This form, I to go, we can't say that. He to go, we can't say that. That is to, that is different. This is a to infinitive. We have to use these with this form with helping verbs. Or before that, there is a one form. That is a verb form. The present form or future form. For example, I want to go. And here, the first verb, want, has time. Want, present. So these two, I want to go, To go depends on that verb. You look at the structure I gave you. Depends on the first form. Then we come to understand this to infinitive is present. This is in present because the want. It got time from the want. I'll give you one more example. I came to learn English. I came to came. Came is past. So this to learn, you don't know. You can't find the time. Is it present or past? But that verb, the to infinitive, that verb depends on came. The came is past. Then you come to understand the sentence is past. So this is what communicative English is. So all 7 forms. And the last form of the verb, 7th form of the verb, we're going to explain each and every verb later. This is only verb forms. What are 7? The last one is this one. But this form, 7th form, it looks like the first form of the verb, but this form depends on helping verb. Without depending on helping verb, it cannot give complete meaning. I shall go, I will go, I don't go, present. He doesn't go, present. He didn't go, past. It tells you that. That means this form depends on helping verb. If you explain this one, students never do mistakes like he doesn't goes. He didn't went. You should explain the first 3 forms never take helping verbs. The next 4 forms take helping verbs. Because the first 3 forms have only meaning and so have meaning and time, but these 4 forms have only meaning but not time. For getting time, for giving complete and absolute meaning, they depend on helping verbs. That's why the first 3 forms are independent forms in English, and the next 4 forms are dependent forms in English. So go, goes, went, going, gone, to go, and go. Now, usually we all mastered and we learned in schools and colleges and universities the structures like this. Adverb of frequency. This is very, very important. In present or past and future, we're going to discuss this one. What is adverb of frequency? It tells you when the action takes place, how often the action takes place. According to this table, we use them in sentences. We're going to look at this in future. Look at this always, every day, 100%. You look at that. It's coming down. Usually, frequently, often, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, rarely, never. Never means never, 0. So the frequency is decreasing. And the frequency is increasing. So when and where and how we use them, we're going to look at in the next lesson. And finally, what we mastered, what we learned in schools, colleges, and the structures, the old structures like this. Yeah. Before that, you look at this. WH questions are also very, very important and how to use them. Where, when, what, which, who, whose, whom, how, what kind, what time, how old, how many, how much, how often, how far, how long, how come. Everything will be explained soon in the next videos. And these are the structures we mastered in our school, our teachers, our books, old books. They taught like this only. You see any video and people teach only this one. And we mastered since our childhood. Yes, we mastered the same. Our teachers in schools and colleges and universities, they teach even still, they teach the same. So, this is structural. We're going to master communicative English. Simple, if you master directly, you can speak in the society. You could be communicative if you follow what I teach in the next videos. But a little different. What 7 forms? Why he's teaching 7 forms? There are 3 forms. There are 5 forms. Forget about it. Forget about why it is, why that is. No, I took everything. Now, for you, to be communicative, to speak very good English language, I made it. Not this one. We remove this. We're going to master something different according to the verb forms. Now, look at the past form. This is the form. Tense, simple present, simple past, simple future. Present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, present perfect continuous, present past perfect continuous, future perfect continuous, present perfect, future past perfect, future perfect. This is what we mastered all the time. That's the Renan Martin old book, 1950s or 1970s or 1940s. The simple book. Those days, the same structural approach, the same grammar. We are still, that's why we master structure. We can't speak if you learn like this. Simply you can, because it is useful. I go, I went, I will go. That's it. You can write, you can understand, but you cannot speak. You cannot must perfectly. Simple, basic language, okay. But if you want to be a great speaker, if you want to be a great communicator, if you want to be a wonderful auditor, so you should master communicative English. I'm gonna teach you. The same structures we must. Present structures, past structures, future structures. Of course, I studied this one. But the later, refined everything. Okay, so we break this one in the next videos and coming videos, not this approach. Now, finally, please like, share, and subscribe. And positive or negative comment, whatever, comment. If you have any doubts, if you want any particular video on particular aspect, then let me know. I make videos in the future. Thank you very much. You're gorgeous the way you are. Have a wonderful time. Goodbye.